Each and every day, enjoy the Simple Six menu at Subway, an entire made-for-you meal featuring one of 6 inch sandwiches like the Italian BMT or Black Forest ham, with any bag of chips and a 21-ounce drink, all for only $6. Subway, eat fresh.
Before we get started in today's show, I want to tell you about Stamps.com, longtime sponsor of the BS Report. It's quick, it's convenient. More importantly, it's really, really easy to use. You do not have to go to the post office anymore. You can just stay home. Make your own office, your personal post office. You can avoid lines. You can avoid just standing there as somebody mails some package, some 79-year-old lady. Who needs that? Make your own mailing and shipping from your house. Stamps.com. Put in the top right of the site, BS. You'll get a deal and a scale and a whole bunch of other things. It's a great product. You can buy and print official U.S. postage using your computer and printer. Stamps.com will give you a digital scale. It will automatically calculate the exact postage for any letter, any package. They'll even help you choose the best class of mail. Wow. Why go to the post office? Just give it to the postman. Stamps.com. Check it out.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report Monday morning here in Southern California. We are coming off the most depressing week in the history of the NFL. That didn't stop us from picking games and gambling on it, though. Cousin Sal, any guilt this weekend?
Oh, tons of guilt. I mean, lots of injuries and lots of suspensions, lots of penalties. Like, I don't know, it's hard to. I was terrible on my on-air debut with picks. I don't know how much I like this sport anymore.
Yeah, it was tough. The pregame shows yesterday, which I was home all morning and I watched a bunch of them, and it was just brutal. It was just 3 hours of just the most depressing conversations. I mean, I guess I wrote 2 columns that were depressing too, but man, it's just like, I don't ever remember anything like this. I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, and it's hard to avoid talking about. Like, I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, I don't want to bum everyone out with another hour of this, rehashing everything that everybody knows and what's going to be. But it's impossible not to touch on it. So
the Greg Hardy thing, the Greg Hardy thing was kind of incredible that they let him play week 1.
Yeah. Well, that they were going to? Yeah.
No, he played. He played in week 1.
No, he didn't play. He was inactive yesterday. Yeah.
No, he was inactive yesterday, but didn't he play in week 1?
Oh, week 1. I'm sorry. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, let that go then. Yeah, it's insane because, it's tough because, you have the legal system and these guys could keep postponing their trial. They get these smart lawyers. They're rich guys. Can postpone it so they can collect their $14 million and not have to worry about being suspended as long as their trial's like in, December or something. So, there's like a sweet spot during the summer where you can commit crimes and not get caught. It's sad the way it's going. Yeah.
And then the Peterson thing. We have kids.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. This is a tough thing. Gun to my head, I would say he plays next week. I really do.
Yeah, I think they wait a couple weeks.
You do?
I do. Barkley was interesting. The most interesting thing I saw yesterday was Barkley and Jim Rome. Mm-hmm. And it got a little contentious, but Barkley was basically making the point, you can't judge the South. We do things differently. But let's all agree that those photos were awful and that he probably shouldn't play for a while. And I need a little more remorse from him, too, publicly.
I agree with that.
And it's been 3 days now. Maybe he can't say anything because of the legal ramifications and all that stuff. But, man, it would have been nice to hear something from him, just like, oh, I can't believe.
That's all you want from these guys, right? I mean, they're being advised by, top-level lawyers. You would think there'd be some remorse in any of these statements, and I guess Ray Rice showed it at first, and was completely honest, apparently, with the NFL and everybody else, and that's why it's like, hey, I'm not going to give you the video, just make your decision based on what you have. But this Peterson thing is a little different. But yeah, you like him to come forward and say a little something like, I overreacted, and not be like, this is how I am, this is how my family was, and get used to it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting week because he's very well liked.
Yep.
He's really fun to watch play football. Obviously has some stuff going on in his personal life. It seems like he has kids scattered around.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. The Ray Rice thing, though, you know, if he told Goodell exactly what happened, which is what some people have reported, and Goodell did his suspension based on all the facts he had and what Ray Rice told him happened, and then the video just confirmed what Ray Rice told him happened.
Yeah.
I don't understand how he can then change the suspension. It does seem like the NFLPA has a case. Now, the question is, if you're like DeMaurice Smith and all these guys, do you want to even push that case? Do you want to be like, hey, we got to get Ray Rice back on the field? Like, it might be a good idea for him to go away anyway.
Right. And there's so, like you said, there's so many competing factors. But, you know, I don't mean to change the subject, but this is a gambling podcast, and I don't know, you have a better gauge of how to figure emotion into these games. Like, I don't. Like, the Ravens, the Thursday night game, you're like, I love the Ravens. It's too low. And I was like, oh, my God, stay away from this. This is coming off, you know, on 3 days rest, all this crazy news. Like, who knows? Yeah. Why would the players, you know, rise to the challenge, rise to the occasion here? And then, like, the Ravens crushed the Steelers, like, just like playoff mode.
There was actually 3 emotion games yesterday, or in week 2. One was the Ravens game. I thought the San Diego game definitely, just because the heat and, you know, in Rivers, and they would have gone 0-2. Was just a much better atmosphere than I'm used to from a San Diego Chargers home game. And then the third one obviously was Buffalo, which was just. Yeah, but on pure emotion, I would say the Buffalo. And, like, I've seen a ton of those, like, go the other way. Like, sure, the Bills are celebrating the new owner, you know, the Jim Kelly's cancer-free, Ralph Wilson. It's a big tribute to him. I've seen a ton of times it goes the other way, and the team is completely, you know, the grief-stricken, and the emotion, like, takes over, and they can't step up to the plate. Anytime a team retires a number at halftime, LT gets his number retired. The Giants have like 3 points at halftime. Like, I don't know how to read that anymore. And you know what? You could throw San Francisco in there too. Their new stadium. Like, that was a big thing. I guess that was the flip side of that. Yeah. So how do you know then? Then they like collapse in the second half or the fourth quarter. So I can't, from a gambling standpoint, figure out any of it. You have a better take on it, I think. Well, slightly, but. You know, I think the key thing for the Bills Dolphins might not even been, although the articles today, everyone said the atmosphere was just absolutely incredible, but I do think there's a chance the Pats just wilted in the heat in the second half of that game. And the Pats? In week one. First game. Yeah. Yeah. I think week 1, the Pats, you could make a real case that the heat sucked the life out of them. Yeah. And then week 2, I think Seattle got really tired in that game. I watched that whole game. You could see it happen in the second quarter. You could see them running out of energy. And I think we forget this sometimes. When you're living where heat is and you're training it every day, you just respond to it differently. It's brutally hot. I was at Dallas at San Diego, my 8-year-old last year in September, and it's just sitting there. It's hard to get motivated to even cheer. So these guys playing in dark uniforms, as Seattle was, I can't even imagine. My daughter had a club soccer game on Saturday in Chino Hills. Right. Nice. 103 degrees. So we had 3 subs, and they had 1 sub, and we had a better team. We're up 2-0. Our whole team Zoe runs out of gas. My daughter runs out of gas in the second half. She has to come out. Our team's running out of gas just in general. They had 1 sub. They're not phased at all. They scored twice in the last 10 minutes, tie game. But it just got me thinking, like, when you're just in that heat every day, it stops phasing you after a while. I mean, Boston was like that. When I lived in Boston, which I lived in Massachusetts 27 the first 32 years of my life, I didn't even notice the cold anymore because it just every 5-6 months a year, it's going to be freezing cold. You just get used to it. And I think that's a real thing in football, especially in September. Isn't that why, like, Bud Grant's Vikings of the 70s, like, always, like, made it to the conference championship game? They'd play outdoors, and teams that got there had a fit, and that was we see it Tampa playing in cold weather. You see it with Breeze outdoors. Like, I do think there's something to all this stuff, because if you're not thinking about the elements, then you're thinking about football. And if you're not used to the elements, and in the back of your head you're thinking about them, they affect you. I thought I'm not holding anything against Seattle for that loss, because I thought Rivers played great.
Yeah.
And the elements were a factor, and San Diego just played really well.
We like the Chargers. That was the Charger team we thought would
right.
show up in the beginning of the year. That they lost their center against Seattle was a little bit of a red flag, but they overcame that.
And another team we really liked before the season was the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
And they lose A.J. Green early in that game.
Yep.
And they proceed to absolutely destroy the Falcons. And that game, even though they won pretty comfortably, that game actually should have been a bigger blowout. Their field goal kicker missed 3 field goals. There was a lot of momentum shifts against them, and it just didn't matter. They killed the Falcons.
Yeah. I don't make power rankings, but if I were to, I'd put Cincy number 1 right now. And that they allowed 26 points in 2 weeks against, solid teams, I would think. So
I did it by I didn't do a power rankings as much as just tried to do tiers, just so in my head I had a better feel. And I think Seattle, Denver, and Cincy are the top 3 right now.
Seattle, Denver, Cincy.
Yeah, I think that's your top 3. And then I think the next 3 are New England, Carolina, and San Diego.
Okay. Well, apparently you didn't see my Dallas Cowboys play yesterday. But okay. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. Everyone.
But wouldn't you say, the 3 safest bets right now are Seattle, Denver, and Cincy?
Yeah. But if either the Colts or the Eagles come out like gangbusters tonight, you'd have to throw one of them in there, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, you look at how bad Jacksonville was yesterday, and Jacksonville and Oakland are the 2 worst teams in the league. I think the Giants are probably 3rd worst.
Right.
Jacksonville got absolutely destroyed by who'd they play yesterday? I'm blanking.
Washington.
In week 1, they almost beat Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm looking at this Philadelphia-Indy game today. And the line is only Indy by 3. Indy played Denver pretty well. They hung in that game. Denver ran away with it, and then Indy kept fighting back. And it just seems like Indy wins tonight.
It's sort of like a San Diego-Seattle thing, where San Diego had to go to Arizona. That was tough. Maybe it's not exactly the same. But anyway, they're home. They need to establish themselves, and that'll be their thing.
Andrew Luck. I did something I'm never going to do again, Sal.
What's that?
From a gambling standpoint. I basically did the Pats and Tampa Bay and just parlayed them and teased them with a bunch of different teams.
Yeah.
Thinking this would be great, Tampa Bay. I still believe in this team. They're going against Austin Davis. Who the hell is he? And Tampa killed me. And I officially hate Tampa Bay this season.
I did too. We both loved them, but
I hate them. They betrayed me.
We believed in you, Tampa Bay, and if you can't find a way to beat either Derek Anderson or Austin Davis in consecutive weeks at home, we have to part ways.
And they lost Gerald McCoy.
Right.
Who I think has a broken hand. They'll probably cast it up, but he won't be the same.
Yeah, and Doug Martin's out. And it's just, that leads us into Thursday if you want to get into
Smith,
it. Yeah.
All of Lovie Smith's habits that I didn't totally enjoy in the Bears. I think he's a good coach, but offensively they were always a little handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch him here, just super conservative and.
Why can't they score points? God, can't take it.
I will say
they're so rough to watch, and then throw a storm delay in there to boot, and it's even worse.
Yeah, but the storm delay was fun just because it staggered it so that we had one extra game after all the other games were over.
Yeah, that was good. I
think they should start one game a year at 5 o'clock. One game a week.
Highlights of Musburger, like a halftime highlights thing. It was great. It was from, I don't know, what year could that have been from? Like 88 or 89?
Yeah.
And it was terrific because some games, it was a late afternoon. Some games were in the first quarter. Some games were in the third quarter. Some games were just ending. It's like, wow, that's cool. I don't like this 10-3-1-1-1 thing that they're doing with 10 morning games. It's just too much. I know it's just me and you and a handful of others that hate this, but how are we expected to watch 10 games in the morning?
Next week, next Sunday, the early games are terrible too. One last thing on the Bucs thing, then we'll get to week 3.
Yeah.
They have the ball 38 seconds left, run a really nice play to Bobby Rainey, gets to the 40, down it, over the middle to Mike Evans, makes a great catch.
Yeah,
he hasn't been that acrobatic since the TMZ video.
Right.
Gets knocked down. He's a little staggered. Now, when he gets hit, there's 12, 13 seconds left. He's a little staggered. It takes him 3-4 seconds to realize he's hurt. They're trying to get him lined up. The ref stops it because he's injured. And then the ref's like, game over, countdown. It's like, what? Like, why stop it? Keep it going at that point and see if he can line up so they could down the ball the second left. That rubbed me the wrong way, not just because I had a lot of money in Tampa.
And it looked like he could have gotten off the field, right? So is it as soon as those trainers come on the field, that's it? Is that how it goes?
I don't think the trainers came on the field. I think the ref stopped it, but if there's less than 10 seconds left, don't you owe it to the ref? It's almost like if a boxer had gotten knocked out after the bell for the round.
Yeah.
You just stop the fight over trying to see if he can get up. Like, there's 8 seconds left in the game. See if he can get to the line and line up so they can down it. That was outrageous.
Exactly. Let it run. Let the guy pick up a fumble and run it back. Let all this stuff happen and then sort it out if you have to.
Because what are you stopping it for? There's 8 seconds left. The game's going to end anyway.
And then they're bringing him off. He was like sprinting off with their help. It's crazy. Yeah.
Here's why I didn't get too mad about that. Because there's no way in hell Tampa's kicker would have made that field goal. The guy had a 24-yarder blocked. He looked terrified.
Yeah.
There was some bad kicking yesterday.
I got struck by lightning. That would have been it. Yeah.
Kansas City's kicker, Tampa's kicker, Detroit's kicker, and
Cincinnati's kicker. They could have won that game by 30.
There's 4 terrible kickers yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, week 3, Thursday.
All right, let's go into this. I don't know what we learned from this week. It's a terrible week. Underdogs were 8-7, home team 7-8. Unders were 9-5-1. And we picked the spreads. We see who's closest. We're tied 1-1 going into week 3. Thursday, Tampa at Atlanta.
Well, I'll tell you one thing we've learned. We told everybody to ride the dogs this year. The underdogs are now 19-12.
Is it 19-12 because of last week? But they're only like 8-7 this week, right?
Right. And, well, they're 8-7 this week, but one of them was the Bills were a pick-em, so the Bills ended up becoming the quote-unquote favorite in that game. But they were an underdog all week. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I gave them the favorite, but technically that could have been one. This is interesting, though. Underdogs, of the 19 underdogs I covered, 14 of them won outright. 75%. So if you like an underdog, just bet the money line.
Go money line.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is not an underdog I like. Tampa at Atlanta.
Yeah, especially if McCoy's out. It's interesting. We always talk about week 1 and week 2. Like it's week 2. I hate week 2 because you never know what to make of week 1, whether some teams are better than you thought or worse. And I think Atlanta, that was such a nice win over New Orleans, but yet New Orleans might not be that good.
Yeah.
And then they get killed by Cincy in the second game. So now it's like, well, is Atlanta good?
Well, this is what we try to do. We try to zigzag. We spend all year trying to zigzag. And you take Washington, Dallas, I'll even include Baltimore's performance, Chicago's performance, played so poorly in week 1. And who's to say, why would they bounce back the way they did in week 2? And then you have Miami and Atlanta who, look like the Super Bowl champs in week 1 and then play like they have 9 guys on the field at all times in week 2. So.
The NFC East to me is officially my Black Widow conference or Black Widow division. I went 0-3 with the NFC East teams yesterday. I have no feel for that division at all. I don't understand it. It's bizarre. I have in this game, I have the Falcons by 6.5.
All right. Well, there you go. Cheating again. I had 7.5. I thought 6.5 was too low, but you in Vegas called it right. 6.5 it is.
Really tough not to consider a tease with Atlanta in that game.
It is tough.
Really
they
tough.
are going through like the third left tackle though. Matthews out, and I don't know what that means anymore when Tampa comes to town. But
I had that written down. Atlanta's offensive line is not good.
Yeah. All right. Then we go.
Pittsburgh's offensive line is not good. Atlanta's offensive line is not good.
We go to Sunday, San Diego at Buffalo.
Game of the day.
Well, not of the.
I mean, of the early.
Yeah.
That's the best early game by far.
Yeah, Denver-Seattle is the game of the day. But yeah, I would say San Diego-Buffalo is the game of the day.
I mean, game of the early day.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for that game?
Well, here's the thing. Everyone in Buffalo hates me. I'm getting like near death threats from these people because I picked them under 6 wins. I picked Marone to get fired first.
You picked Miami and Sports
Center. I picked Miami, my best bet on ESPN. And I was wrong. I don't know what it is. They're much better than I thought.
I want to make one thing clear to America. There's only one team that you hate, and it's the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Anyone else, that's BS. You like whoever is going to win you money on a given week. You have no fear, hatred, or anything toward any team other than the Giants.
Of course. I went to school like 20 minutes from Buffalo. I've been to 10 Bills games. There's no reason to hate Buffalo. They make it like I pulled the plug on Ralph Wilson. Like they're a good team. They're playing better than I thought.
How do we know you did it?
Well, there's no video. That's why. No.
I have one concern of the Bills. I like this Bills team.
Mm-hmm.
EJ Manuel's not that good.
I guess.
I watched that
know.
game pretty closely. He is just not accurate. I mean, they could have they really did almost blow out Miami anyway, but they could have blown Miami out if he made a couple throws.
Right.
He gets a lot of time. He didn't get touched in either of those games.
No, I'm not going to say anything bad about him. I have a wife and kids to protect here.
Sammy Watkins is very exciting and gets open.
He is.
And he wasn't even 100% healthy.
Now, San Diego, west to east.
Tough one.
I would think, what'd you have for a spread here?
Well, I factored that in, actually, because they played Monday night late in Arizona. They played Sunday in the heat in San Diego against Seattle, and now they're flying cross-country and playing a 1 o'clock game. I have the Bills favored. I had trouble with this. I had the Bills by 1.
There you go. You got it exactly again. I had 1.5, and I thought I was going to nail it over you. Man. All right. Well, so you get that. You're up 2-0.
So yeah, I'm 2 for 2 and nailing it. That usually means I have a good feel.
That might be too low, though, even. San Diego coming across.
Phil Rivers is really good at football.
Yeah, he is. And how about Antonio Gates is the cry wolf athlete of the decade, isn't he?
I know.
Questionable every Sunday for the last half dozen years, and then just that was some great catches yesterday. I know there was as bad as the kicking was yesterday. Great catches.
Brandon Marshall
made one. Marshall all over the place.
Amazing.
All those interceptions by the Bears yesterday, if you want to count those. Ruben Randall, just very athletic league.
The San Diego fans get mad when I call Phillip Rivers Phil.
Yeah.
I actually get emails. The San Diego fans have a really strange relationship with Rivers. They're, hey, man, his name's Phillip. You should call him by his name. Like, they get upset. I think I might start calling him Rivsy this year.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, little Rivsy. Rivsy's going to Buffalo.
We had a writer. Maybe we should explain this a little.
Yeah, you should.
We worked on Jimmy Kimmel Live. You were with us the first year as a writer, and there was a writer, Mark Rivers, and he was like a musician also, and for that reason, I think he was like partially deaf in one ear. So if someone would pitch an idea, inevitably he would pitch the same idea like 10 minutes later.
A variation of the same idea somebody just pitched, like he wasn't in the room.
Just because he wouldn't hear it, we'd say Ribsy. So now whenever anyone says something now it's already been called, we say Ribsy. Like
it's been a joke for 12 years.
Yeah, it's been going on. So
but Ribsy's a great nickname.
I like it.
Yeah. And if it makes the San Diego fans upset, even better.
Washington at Philly.
I like San Diego in that game, by the way.
All right.
I'm leaning toward I just think San Diego's good. Washington at Philly. The NFC East is just tormenting me.
Mm-hmm.
I have Philly by 6.
All right, I nailed this. I said 6.5, and as of this morning, it was 6.5.
I had 6.5 written down, and I guess 6.
I don't recommend. I don't know. Kirk Cousins could do a good job with this team, but when, like you said, we'll let this division play out a little. Maybe by week 15, 16, we'll have figured it out.
It does seem like Cousins is a better fit for them, and it also seems like they can at least rush the passer, which is a good thing. I don't know what to make of the Eagles team. We're going to learn a lot tonight in this Indy game.
Yep. Tennessee at Cincinnati.
Yeah. Tennessee's defense was an atrocity yesterday.
Well, that's what I mean. They beat the Chiefs, so you're like, all right, the Chiefs are bad, Tennessee's good. And then the Chiefs almost beat Denver. It's like, whoa, what's going on? And Dallas comes into Tennessee.
You ran all over them.
Yeah, definitely.
That was one of those where sometimes guys get like 170 yards, but it's because they broke an 80-yard run, a 40-yard run. Mm-hmm. Murray was like 9, 8, 9, 10. I looked at the game log today. It was Tennessee's D was on the field for 41.1 minutes out of 60. That's
consistency. Well, you know, it's funny that the Cowboys' defense is being touted now, but it was sort of the same thing last week. The Niners didn't have the ball, so they didn't have to give up too many yards. But somehow,
you know, it's interesting. This line I think would be higher if we knew A.J. Green was playing. I'm going to say Bengals by 7.5.
Well, I thought it would be 9.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is the best team, the Bengals, and they seem to have a good home field edge. 6.5. So you win that
AJ
one.
Green.
So what? I mean, yeah, he's great, and he's an All-Pro, but this Bengals, that defense is locked down. They don't screw around.
It sure doesn't look good for the Titans.
No. In a winnable division, I think.
Yeah. Who's good? Houston. I was very dubious of Houston for reasons we've discussed in the past. Bill O'Brien, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
Didn't think they had a ton of talent. But it just seems like every week they play the worst team in the league. I don't know how that's possible.
Their schedule is really broken nicely, and they play the Giants
they play the Giants this week.
Why don't we do that game there? Houston at Giants.
I had Texans by 1.
I said pick. You're going to get it because it's Texans by 2.5.
Oh.
Yeah, and they're playing like you said, like they have a 5-game lead in the division. They're throwing touchdowns to J.J. Watt. They're like messing around with these other teams.
That, yeah, they do feel like this year's Chiefs. Maybe they're like 8-1 after 9 games, and none of us are taking them seriously. A little like the Chiefs last year.
Yep. Dallas at St. Louis.
No. I have the Rams by 1.
Ooh, yeah. No respect.
No, none at all.
No respect at all. I had Dallas by 3, and it's Dallas by 2.5.
Well, you know why? You know what people didn't realize? That Austin Davis came to play football yesterday.
Yeah, he sure did.
I don't mind Austin Davis.
It was a rare Cowboys win that was sealed with 6 minutes left. I think there have been 3 of those this decade. I'm not going to get too excited because John Hopkins could probably compete in the NFC East. But
not sure you should be favored again on the road against anyone that's not terrible.
Well, I don't think they're just never going to. They're not going to give Austin Davis the nod over a team that has a win.
The thing is, though, the Rams, their defense is really, really physical and impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I thought even the plays Tampa made yesterday, guys were getting popped.
Yeah.
And
Robert Quinn gets through every time.
They're really good. Their front seven's really good.
Another front seven that's good, the Cleveland Browns, and they host the Baltimore Ravens this week.
Yeah. That was a nice win by the Browns.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? That was a legitimate win. I thought they deserved the game. It seemed like the Saints were just going to pull it out of their butthole, and the Cleveland actually won it, which was nice.
And I was thinking with Cleveland, and, we have friends in the Cleveland organization, but, I was thinking, oh, God, it was announced in the middle of the week, and I know you like this because it's fantasy implications. You took him for $5. But Josh Gordon's going to come back like week 11. Said this poor team is going to screw their team twice in 2 years. They're going to be 2-8. They're going to have to play him, and they're going to end up 5-11 because they'll win a few by accident. But now, who knows?
What do I do with Josh Gordon? Do I waive him or do I keep him for 10 weeks?
No, you have to hold on to him. But
But what if I'm 4-6 in week 10?
Well, then I think you trade. You don't waive him. You could trade him still at that point.
Yeah, I guess. But, I have the Ravens.
Go ahead.
I have the Ravens by 3 in Cleveland.
It's funny. I had the Ravens by 2.5. Pick them.
Oh.
Pick them.
Whoa.
They're serious about this team. And as a football fan, you want to see Manziel play eventually. But how great is this? Because Manziel, not only is he not playing because the hometown boy Hoyer is doing well, but he can't even be the bad boy of the league. Like, not even close. Like, you go to Vegas, do what you want. No one's even going to notice at this point what's going on in the league.
I think Hoyer's confident.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that line. I think the Ravens are good. You look at week 1. And they're in Cincy, and they really almost beat Cincy. And A.J. Green makes a spectacular play. And then they drive down. They're on Cincy's side of the field. They don't get it. 4th and 9. Flacco gets sacked. But they were in that game. Either team could have won that game. Then they kill Pittsburgh in week 2. I'm not ready to make them a pick 'em against this Cleveland team that beat a Saints team that might not even be that good. I think that line's off.
Their defense does make quarterbacks like Flacco look bad. Quarterbacks who like to look bad from time to time.
But Baltimore's front seven is really good.
Yeah, it should be good. It's probably a stay away, just like Washington and Philly's a stay away.
That's a pretty good game. I got to say, I'm starting to like this early game slate a little more than I thought I would.
What about Green Bay at Detroit? That's a good game.
The Lions.
Maybe a must-win. If you look at their schedules, could be a must-win for Green Bay. Next 5 are at Chicago, Minnesota, at Miami, Carolina, and at New Orleans.
I know Green Bay came from behind and won, but that was not a feel-good win yesterday.
No.
The Jets just blew that game, and you can't feel good if you're a Packer fan. You just can't. I have the Lions by 2.5.
All right, I said 2, and it's only 1.
And see, that's just the public just backing Green Bay. That's stupid.
Yeah.
That was a fluky win, but for them yesterday, and everyone and their brother had them in a tease yesterday too, and was freaking out when it was 21-3.
Oh yeah, and eliminator pools and everything. I don't. What do you do if you're the Jets? I mean, that Marty Morningweg calling timeouts. It's an unfortunate event, but you're Rex Ryan. You almost want to fire the guy, don't you? I think it screwed their season. It really did.
Well, it seems like he was motioning timeout to get Rex to call timeout.
Yeah.
And then the official mistakenly just granted the timeout.
He motioned it, or you audibly put it out
They're not allowed to. The coordinators aren't allowed to call timeouts. So he was calling timeout to get Rex to do it.
I think the ref heard someone say it, and Rex isn't. I guess it wasn't a distinguishable enough voice, and the ref just thought it was Rex that said it. Isn't that the story?
That was a bad job. Bad job by the refs.
The Jets are 2-0. Your next four are at Detroit, at San Diego, Denver, and at New England after this Monday night game against the Bears. They could be done. That could screw their season.
Yeah, we saw this stretch coming, that this was a brutal 5-game stretch for them.
All right.
I will say, though,
go ahead.
Gino's pretty exciting in not like in a way like I don't know, like Robert Griffin's rookie season or something like that. It's just like he's so hit or miss. Every time he goes back to pass, you literally don't know what's going to happen. Like he might just throw right to the other team. He might thread a 50-yarder right in the dime. He's just all over the place. It's when you have on 4 TVs, it's really fun every time he goes back to pass. One
thing you know is going to happen when he drops back is that he's not going to be targeting. He's going to be targeting a player you've barely heard of.
Right?
It's like Curley. Of course, Decker comes over from Denver, but he gets hurt. But get this guy a blue chip receiver or somebody from the Jets. Like, when was the last time? I can't even remember when they had a good receiver.
Yeah, it's true.
Indy at Jacksonville.
Tough one because we don't know. We're not sure about this Indy team yet. But, God, the Jags suck.
Well, you know what? We take you now to the comments of one Andrew the Giant Luck, who this week has the enviable task of matching up against the S.D. Jones of the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Andrew, what do you have to say?
If we are favored by less than 6 points, I'm going to be insulted. I'm going to say Colts by 6.
We don't want to insult Andrew the Giant. Vegas has it at 6.5. I said 7.5, so you get that one.
Man.
And it's 5-4. You have the lead.
What would you do if you're the Jags? Would you play Bortles, or is your team so bad you just keep them on ice all year?
Oh, man.
You can't block. Why? You don't want them out there if you can't block.
Well, if they stick to their word, they're not going to play him. So
they shouldn't play him. They can't
probably
block.
Shouldn't. Yeah.
Let Chad Henne take the beating.
Yeah, wait 7 or 8 years before you have that offensive line figured out
and
put them in there.
The Jags, the rarely seen 3-year rebuilding project, which I don't think has ever happened in NFL history. Usually in the NFL, you can become good again in a year. The Jags are in year 3, and there's no sign of hope at all.
I mean, what have they been outscored since the second half in the Philly game? I didn't even look, but it's got to be like 40-7. What is it? More than that? 50.
I should also make fun of myself because I'm 5-4 in the Super Contest right now, and 2 of the losses are the Jags. I took them week 1 and week 2 because I am a moron. Don't forget that for a second.
I want to take them this week too. You're going to take the Colts sight unseen?
Should I just take the Jags every week? One of these weeks I'm going to win. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Oakland at New England.
We should say, though, we are nearing the point where there's going to be massive overreaction lines to the bad teams. Right. Usually it's week 4 when it happens. Week 4 is usually the wonk week.
Mm-hmm. And we will overreact the wrong way and take
they're just like, the Jags suck. They're going to lose by 30 every week. Yeah. Nobody loses in the NFL by 30 every week.
Eventually, well, it's funny because now we have Oakland and New England, Minnesota and New Orleans coming up. And I think I just want to be there. We know New England, New Orleans, Green Bay have a 41-7 game in them coming up, right?
Right.
But we want to be on the right side of it when it happens. We want to say, I told you so. But is this the one? What do you think? What do you have for
play well yesterday, and they won by 23. The Vikings team was a shell.
Let me tell you something. I picked, and this is, I picked the Vikings as my fishy line of the week because Patriots are given 3, and if Belichick back-to-back wins, who wouldn't take the Patriots? That cockeyed logic that I use. But and then minutes after I'm on SportsCenter saying, given the Vikings pick, the Peterson stuff is announced, so they don't. That's it. My segment's killed. It was going to be rerun for the weekend, but they're not doing it. And then they're sticking close, and when who was it that blocked our kick?
Chandler Jones. Great play.
When he did that and it was run back, I took the remote. I threw it with more velocity and accuracy than I did last month, Citi Field first pitch.
Wow.
Right, catch. Yeah. No, that was it. I'm a mental case with these games.
I have the Pats. This is the highest line of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Pats by 14.5.
Good call. I said 12. I didn't think they'd go that high. It's 15. 15.
Oakland's terrible football. They're an awful team.
Terrible football. Since when?
They're bad. The Dennis Allen first coach fired odds are just they have to be like dead even at this point.
I guess so.
That team's a mess.
And no, they just played so close with the Jets, and you figure, all right, they have something in them, but nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Minnesota, New Orleans, must win. It was hard to find a line, but I did for this, not knowing if AP is in or not. I
don't think the Saints are good. I'm not going to overreact. I'm not saying they're bad. I just think they're like an 8-8, 9-7 team.
Really?
I have Saints by 8.5.
Wow. Who gets this? I said you get it. I said 12. I thought this is, must win at home where they love to play. It's 10. It's only 10.
I'm going to make a prediction. I think we see Teddy Bridgewater this week.
Really?
Yeah. Castle was awful yesterday.
He was bad.
He was really, really bad. He had 6 terrible football plays.
Triple coverage. Every third throw.
I can just tell you, I don't think you know a team well enough until you're rooting against them because they're playing your team.
Mm-hmm.
At halftime, I was terrified Bridgewater was coming in.
Really?
I was like, if they keep Castle and we got it, if Bridgewater comes in, I'm scared. That's how I felt. I think Bridgewater's good.
They might just do it to shake up the goodwill in the organization.
Well,
right?
that's the thing. It's a nice little distraction for them, right? Like, it's like, Peterson, we don't know what we're going to do yet. But, hey, here's Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Do you want to do it in New Orleans, though? It's as tough a position as it could be. It's a must-win in New Orleans.
They can't stop the pass.
I don't know.
They have no second cornerback. I would start him this week.
Watch Jarius Byrd with 3 picks this week. I think if I were New Orleans, I mean, this is just a joke how they can't win on the road. It's just, why not just say, all right, all the games in London and Toronto, whoever's supposed to be the home team for those, Jacksonville, Buffalo, we'll take them all. We'll play all those games. That way it's just as much a road game for those teams as it is us. So,
they don't. Good. The Saints don't seem as explosive as they used to be.
No.
They're very grinded out. They don't get like Rodgers yesterday when he needed points was making big plays downfield, and it just seems like Breeze. It's a lot of grind and 8 yards, 7 yards. They don't seem the same to me.
We'll see.
But it's early. We've counted out teams before in September. I just don't like the vibe with the Saints, and I think 0-2 is the math is pretty obvious. It's 88% of the time you're out.
But New Orleans, so Tampa Bay is not going to win that division, we know.
Well,
Atlanta, we don't know what to make of them yet. And
we all missed on Carolina. Carolina's good. We all missed. We all bought into that regression bowl. And meanwhile, they have the same defense they had last year, other than Greg Hardy is not on it anymore. But they're really good at defense.
Late afternoon game, San Fran at Arizona.
I should say the regression bowl hit big time with the Chiefs. So maybe it's not both.
With the Chiefs?
But I think the Chiefs were a regression candidate and they regressed.
Yeah.
The thing with the Panthers that I wish I feel like we could have gotten this at 3:00 in the morning at a blackjack table in Vegas if we just had the conversation that went one extra level.
I know.
Everyone was looking for reasons to pick anyone else in that division. Everybody had the Saints being a contender. And then Tampa was a sleeper pick for a lot of people. Nobody was taking the corner of Carolina was really good last year. It almost made the Super Bowl, and they have a lot of the same. And just because Steve Smith isn't coming back doesn't mean you can't make the Super Bowl this year. You
know what I think it is? And maybe we should take a year off from fantasy football because I think that mindset sinks in, and you're like, Carolina, Arizona, they're not too much fun to root for. But you know what? Their defenses keep them in. They're going to keep them in. That's it. They're going to be in 13 to 16 to 14 games out of the 16.
Well, that's the other thing. Defense doesn't regress.
Yeah.
If you're physical on D and you make plays and you're hitting certain benchmarks, that's really hard to just go flying backwards the next season.
Right.
So Carolina's good. They make plays.
San Fran, this Arizona defense too. I wouldn't count them out. Calais Campbell, I got 10 tackles yesterday. I got Larry Foote from the Steelers. They're good.
There were a lot of red flags with this Niners team, and they manifested themselves last night in that second half. That was a debacle. Kaepernick was just horrific. And, yeah, I think that's going to become a storyline this week. I think
those are some amazing interceptions, though. I will say, he definitely wasn't on his game, and it was the third and fourth quarter Kaepernick was different from the first half Kaepernick, but I couldn't believe some of those plays. And
he's careless, though, and that you can't be careless when you're the QB.
By the way, the refs, enough with the flags in the night game. Shower the field with yellow during the day, but the night game, that's a divorce game right there. We shouldn't be watching hours, 9 through 11 of football, and that can't be the longest game of the day. It just can't.
I like Arizona in this game, but I think San Francisco is going to be favored. I have San Francisco by 1.5.
All right, I think I get this. I said San Fran by 3, and they're 2.5.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Well, that's a Drew Stanton line.
San Francisco, Arizona, Baltimore, Cleveland, Washington, Philly, 3 division games. If I thought about it for 4 days, I wouldn't be able to pick it right. I think
home dogs are only 4-3 this year.
Wow.
Usually that number's a little bit higher. We have the Browns are a home dog. Jags are a home dog. Giants are a home dog. Cardinals are a home dog this week. And the
Rams?
Jets. We haven't gotten the Jets yet.
Rams too, right? You said? Yeah.
Yep, Rams too.
Denver at Seattle. I picked this one exactly. I think you will too. Game of the week.
Who's winning right now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I picked this one exactly.
Okay. I have Seahawks by 4.
All right. It's 4.5. So now it's 7-6. You're up.
Whoa.
With 3 games left.
4.5. You picked that exact, huh?
Yeah.
I thought Vegas zone.
Yep. By the way, Chris Berman reading Sherman's tweet was delightful. He should have 20 minutes where he just reads tweets. LMAO exposed.
It's one of my top 11 least favorite Sports Center gimmicks is when they run tweets from people.
They have to read them.
Yeah. I just don't get it.
So
Pete
good.
Carroll tweeted, "Best of luck to so-and-so as they recover from their surgery." It's
right.
What? Why are you reading this? I wouldn't even read this if it was on my Twitter feed.
But Berman, it's a different language to him. I mean, he mentioned Jerry Lee Lewis 6 seconds into his Swami segment. I don't know if it was this week or the week before. I meant to talk to you about it. It was spectacular how he did it.
Well, I saw yesterday he ran the Niners thing. He was on the field after the Dwight Clark catch.
Yeah. I don't know how they dug that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think Seattle wins this game. Denver, I don't know. Denver going through the motions here. Were they looking ahead both weeks to Seattle?
If I'm Denver, I'm upset that Seattle lost that San Diego game.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really hard to imagine them losing twice.
They were probably looking ahead Seattle.
Obviously we know more than ever that we need a czar of sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially you see what's going on with football. We really need somebody who could just come in.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I would do as a czar of sports, maybe not a huge deal, but I would make either Demaryius Thomas or Julius Thomas take a number in the teens.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's officially ridiculous. I have both of them on one of my fantasy teams, and then I was going against one of them and another one, and it's just like, none of us can tell who's who. One's 80, one's 88. They're built exactly the same.
Kind of built. I was just going to say, yeah.
Anyone who says that they could tell who's who when a Thomas catches the ball is lying.
Mm-hmm.
And the 80-88, you can't tell. Even like you could have a 70-inch TV and you can't tell between 80 and 88.
Yeah, by the time they're rolling on the ground, so you only see the first 8, and then by the time they get up, they're mobbed by 3 teammates. So the second number is obscured. So
announcer gets it wrong all the time. Julie, it's just like, just pick one. Somebody's got to be 13 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick somebody. You do a coin flip.
Can I tell you who went the other way with that? Like went a little crazy with his uniform for no reason? Steve Smith Sr. You know who that is?
Yeah, I do. Steve Smith Jr.'s
Steve
dad.
Smith. It's Steve Smith. He had a kid this offseason.
I know.
Named it Steve Smith. So he's like, I'm going to put senior on that. I don't want to confuse people. Wait, which Steve Smith is that? Is that the jaundicey one who can't crawl, or is that the one that we've played forever for the Panthers?
I love everything Steve Smith does. And Baltimore, Carolina, Week 4 is the greatest sport event of the year.
It's going to be good.
It's really good. Everyone thought maybe Mayweather, Maidana, too, was a good one. But Steve Smith going against Carolina is the event of the year.
That's going to be fun. All right, Kansas City at Miami. All right, you're up 1 game, 3 left.
Oh, man. I didn't like this one. I had trouble with this one. Miami by 4.
Yeah, you're going to get this. I went high on this. I wrote Kansas City off as a loser. I like Miami way too much this year. It's 4.5. I said 6, but it's 4.5.
Tannehill's yeah.
So disappointing.
Tannehill might not be that good.
Well, then Marino goes down, so that's rough to begin with.
That hurt.
And then you're playing in Buffalo.
How long's he out for? How long's Marino out for? Do we know?
I didn't even see, actually. I think it's a while. They brought Daniel Thomas back, so.
Oh, no.
That's what's bad.
Ew.
Sunday night, Pittsburgh or Carolina.
Steelers are not good.
No.
Did you see, I saw this somewhere today, Steelers' last 3 halves, they're outscored 50-9.
Last 3 halves, yeah, because Cleveland in there beat them up.
Yeah. 50-9 is a problem.
That's not good.
And in Carolina, I think the Steelers are in a lot of trouble this game. But we've counted out Roethlisberger before, to be fair.
This is their second night game in a row. They played the Thursday night game. There should be a rule that if you don't score a touchdown, you can't play another night game the following week. You're flexed out. Maybe at night, but like 3 in the morning. But just a policy. You didn't score a touchdown in the last primetime game.
I think this line's going to be too low.
All right.
I have Carolina by 3.5.
Wow. All right. You win that, and you win the week. I said 6, and I do think 3.5 is too low.
Is that what it is?
No, it's 3.5.
Yeah, that's too low.
Yeah.
But I don't think people respect Carolina yet.
No, they didn't all of last year. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is where we make our money. This is the type team that will give Pittsburgh a fit.
Well, when you think about it, in the playoffs last year, they lost, I forget what game.
Carolina?
Yeah, I forget if it was round 1 or round 2.
They lost to the Niners, right?
Or Seattle, one of those two. They lost to one of the NFC West teams. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But they were in the game. It was a close game. They from a physicality standpoint, they were dead even with the Niners in Seattle. It was just they were one playmaker short, but they were right there.
Yep.
And I'm kicking myself for not thinking about them to win that division.
So our bias is that's our top bias that we have to let go of going into from the preseason.
I did it last week. I even wrote my week 2 picks column. Like you have to audible when you're wrong. Yeah, and I like sticking to my guns, but I just had the wrong team in that division, and it's Carolina. It's not Tampa.
And Tampa's the other one. Or Tampa's the other way.
Yeah, it was just the wrong team. So you do a little flip flop on it. But
all right, good. I hope that works out for us.
I think the 2 divisions that are up for grabs are the NFC East and the AFC South. I think it's too early to say where either of those are going.
No, that's true. Monday night. Chicago Bears at New York Jets.
Great performance by the Bears yesterday. I mean, there was a point in the second quarter where it really seemed like that might be like a 47-10 type game.
Yep.
And they were just kicking the crap out of Cutler.
Yeah.
And I never in my wildest dreams expected the Bears to win that game.
But what's weird was, in the story, it's Brandon Marshall, 3 touchdowns, but Cutler is standing in there.
Takes punishment.
Not even move. It's like, that's it. I'm locked in. I'm going to throw this ball. And I don't care if I'm hit. Like, in the first half, that was a problem. And then he had some kind of crazy confidence, pocket presence.
I think that dude takes a lot of hits.
Yeah.
Doesn't get credit for it. We went out to dinner last night with the kids, and the game was on the TV there. And my wife saw Cutler. And she's like, who's the guy who looks like Alec Baldwin?
Oh, wow.
So I said, that's Jay Cutler. And she goes, oh, is that the guy who dates Kristen Cavallari? I was like, wow, that's officially the most sports gallish conversation I've ever had in my life.
Nice.
Who's the guy who looks like Alec Baldwin? Oh, is that the guy who dates Kristen Cavallari? Perfect.
Makes a lot of sense.
Perfect. Yeah. And she nailed both of them. I think she made 2 good points.
Good.
Yeah.
Good job for you, sports gal.
Yeah, he does look like a little like a Baldwin brother.
Yeah. And the fact that he's always getting beat up just adds to it.
Right. Maybe he's the lost Baldwin brother.
I had, what'd you have? I had Jets. You won the week, so it doesn't matter. I had Jets by 2.
Oh, I had the Bears by 1.5.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I'll win this one. It's the Jets by 1.5.
I don't agree with that.
Mm.
Do we think the Jets even have a home field advantage? Like anytime anything goes wrong, their fans get upset.
No, I haven't seen it, but it is tough in today's NFL, which stands for National Football League, to win 2 night games on the road, right?
I feel like the Jets fan base is like your Aunt Chippy.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Like you're walking on eggshells, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to make Aunt Chippy upset. She's gonna come right at you. And the Jets fan base is like that. Like I think the Jets play there and it's like, we don't want to make our fans mad. You fall down 10-0, the Jets fans are furious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think I like the Jets here. I don't know.
You don't like my Aunt Chippy Jets fan base
I do like that.
Think about it. Let it marinate for a little bit. It's a good one.
Well, they let the fans, they let assistant coaches call timeout. Anyone want to call a timeout? Fireman Fred, do it.
We should mention you had a thing with Aunt Chippy last week that was really good.
I did a thing, yeah. My Aunt Chippy has a ceramics class. She lives in Las Vegas, and it's her only. Excuse me. When she gets away, she could be peaceful, not have to think about anything. And we infiltrated the class. I hired this guy, Judo Gene LaBelle, and look him up. He's fantastic too. He's like some credit him for being the inventor of mixed martial arts. And he was an old man who infiltrated a class and drove her crazy. And I was telling him things to say to her, and she just she ends up beating the out of me. So there you go.
That's usually how the Aunt Chippy things end.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So our plugs are these Sports Center segments. It looks like they're going to be running overnight Thursday and on Friday morning.
Friday mornings, and they say throughout the weekend, unless I mention someone who minutes later is indicted for a horrific crime, but then they won't repeat it. But yeah,
what are the odds that happens again?
No, it can't happen. Grantland blog on Thursday featuring prop bets. We'll see that later in the week. Matt D, Cousin Sal, and Jimmy Kimmel Live, Jane Fonda, Ike Barinholtz, Mastodon, you know the groups, I don't know. Later in the week, Key and Peele, Ty Burrell, Len Goodman, Kaylee Cuco, and Anthony Anderson.
Key and Peele?
Yeah.
Like them.
I think that's tomorrow, yeah.
They're good. Talented guys.
They're fun.
All right, cuz.
Good times. All right, buddy.
As always, a pleasure. Good talking to you.
Good job by you.
Good job by you. All right, we're going to call my buddy JackO to talk about America turning on YouTube. But first, a word from our friends at Subway.
Fuel your training routine with protein-packed footlongs at Subway, like the turkey breast or oven-roasted chicken, made the way you say with all of your favorite fresh veggies on your choice of freshly baked bread. Subway, train hard, eat fresh.
As promised, my buddy JackO, we're going to call him. He actually does not know we're calling this time, so here we go.
Complex Litigation, this is John.
Johnny.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Just did the Cousin Sal pod. We had a little extra time. I wanted to commiserate with you about America turning on YouTube last week. A dark day for both of us.
It really was, and one I don't understand.
It just hurt, Johnny.
It really did hurt.
It's one of the great bands of all time.
Absolutely.
And I learned a couple things last week. One, it's over. And two, there are now 2 generations of people after us who do not like U2 and think of U2 as just these old geezers that showed up on their iCloud, and now they can't get them off their iCloud, and they're very upset about it. It's so upsetting to me, Johnny.
It's sad. It's proof that we're getting old, but I'm surprised you didn't know it was over at the no line on the horizon point, but I'm surprised it took you to this release to realize that it was over.
Well, I mean, it's 36 years, right? Like, what band is still putting out good albums in year 36? It's never happened before. So I don't know. I mean, I've been on the record for a while what I thought U2 should have done for 3, 4, 5 years ago. They are clearly in the farewell tour point of their existence, where they have the farewell tour. It's your last chance to see U2, and then 2 years later they get back together. They should have 10 years of that.
Absolutely.
Just go play your hits. Last time you get to see us, then come back 2 years later, you have another tour.
Absolutely. Just go play Sunday Bloody Sunday. That's what people came for. Play with or without you. That's what they want to see. I mean, the Rolling Stones have made a living doing this for 40 years now.
Yeah. U2's last great moment was the Super Bowl 36, one of the great days of my life. The Patriots beating the Rams, 14-point underdogs. U2 came out at halftime, sang Beautiful Day. The Pats had the lead. It was just everything I ever wanted in life. If there had been a bartender and who, God knows who else, I probably would have just imploded. And then they had the great, touching, poignant 9/11 thing, and it's just like they're just at the peak of their powers. It's 2002. It's year 24. They're still cranking it, and now 12 years later,
yeah,
they're still releasing albums. Now you like that Joey Ramone song? I did a quick cursory flip through all the songs, and it's just like I just think they've run out of things to say.
Yeah, I mean, they've come to the point where all their songs are starting to sound alike. And I was thinking about it as I downloaded it, of course, when I saw that it was free.
You have a choice. It was on your iCloud.
Exactly. So I downloaded it, and I was listening to it on my phone on my way home from work. And it's about a half-hour drive or so, and I was listening to it, and I said, boy, these songs just all kind of blend together. I thought the first one, though, I stand by that Joey Ramone one, I think that's all right. It's got a ridiculous title. I mean, I'm glad they're honoring Joey Ramone, but it's got a ridiculous title, but it's a good song. But it's like every the Edge has basically like 3 chords. It just plays them over and over again in every song, but it's a rockin', rollicking song, gets you fired up. I liked it. But then they have these other songs, and it sounds like everything from No Line on the Horizon. Was it even the name of that record? Album, whatever we're calling it. I think that's what it was. The one that had Put On Your Boots or whatever. I mean, at a certain point, I was thinking about it when I was driving home listening to it. I'm like, how could you come up with new songs? New music after you've been doing it for almost 40 years? After a while, wouldn't there just be the same song in your head? Like you're just writing With or Without You again? You're like, I already wrote that one. It was With or Without You. It sold 40 million copies.
Yeah, you'd think year 20, maybe year 25 would be pushing it. They started really young.
Yeah.
They were making albums. I don't even think Bono was 21 yet, but you'd think by year 25, I think the Rolling Stones is the greatest band of all time.
Yeah.
They were pretty much done by the mid 80s. And that was around the 20-year mark. A lot of drugs. Maybe they did a little more drugs than U2 did, but.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
But, you think so for people who don't know this, although they know JackO because he's been coming out for 7 years, you had the room next to me freshman year.
Yeah.
And I loved U2, but I was never a huge Unforgettable Fire fan, which now belatedly, I think over time has become my favorite U2 album. But you were listening to Unforgettable Fire a lot. And I used to hear it through the walls. It was actually one of the reasons we became friends.
Yes.
But I turned 45 this month. You turned 45 in July. We're old.
I turned
U2
44.
Is old.
Easy. I just turned 44.
Well, you're 45 next July.
I'm a babe in the woods. I'm still a young buck. Don't fool yourself.
All the plastic surgery you're having has made you look 10 years younger.
That's right.
But it is amazing to me that now 2 generations are against U2. I think anyone under 35 just has no concept, and it's really hard. What can you say? We were in the same position when we were in college. We didn't care about some band from the Beach Boys.
True.
So,
it was an eye-opening day for a lot of reasons for me, though. One, the notion that you would just get an album completely free. I mean, I grew up in an era when you would go to the record store and, buy the record, literally the record, or the tape, and that was a huge deal. I remember when Van Halen's 1984 came out, buying it on the day it was released on vinyl, and that was such a huge deal. And the notion that someday, Van Halen would have just come to my house and given me the record for free, it would have shocked 14-year-old me to death.
Yeah.
So that's incredible now that albums are so worthless, basically, that there's no money to be made for the U2 or the record company. Because let's face it, they're not giving these things away for free. If there was money to be made, the money is to be made from the subsequent tour, obviously, when you're spending $200 for prime seats or more for prime seats to watch them sing Sunday Bloody Sunday for the 40th time.
Yeah.
I mean, personally watching it for the 40th time, they've sang it 40 million times. So that's where the money is. That was eye-opening that there's no more album sales anymore. That's out. And then that the backlash of people were so enraged that they got something for free.
Well, So
we were in college, and we used to drive to Boston to go to Tower Records and load up on CDs. Imagine if they told us someday these will be given away for free, and people will get mad about it.
I still remember the Achtung Baby album came out, and we went to the mall the day of, and we got it, and then we all went into our separate rooms and just listened to it, and then we would talk about it, then go back and listen to it again.
Right.
I was talking to Ben Schwerin, who does some stuff with you too, a friend of mine, because he was watching football with me yesterday, and he was saying that, the reality is the concert is still what drives them,
Right.
And it's like they could go either way. They could never release albums, but they'd still be able to do a giant tour. Or you could try to release. I mean, it's kind of admirable. They're still writing songs, It's like shouldn't be a negative. These guys are like, we love making music together.
It's true.
But they made a lot of money from that album because Apple paid them. I don't know what the final price was, but Apple paid them, be like, hey, we're going to own this album and distribute it, and it's going to be this cool gimmick. And the real story, it wasn't U2's fault. It was really Apple's fault. Apple was the one that misfired.
By automatically loading it on there.
Or thinking that U2 was worth $100 million or whatever they decided it was. Like it was worth $100 million of hype and promotion. Like if they wanted to do this correctly and with the maximum impact, they should have done it with Kanye.
Yeah, somebody more relevant to
give Kanye $400 million, and you get Kanye's album for free. But what made people mad is I have this turned off on my iCloud, but a lot of people don't, where it's just like you have music on shuffle, and anything in your iCloud could pop up. So these 13-year-olds were listening to their iCloud shuffle or whatever, and these random U2 songs are just coming out. They're like just freaking out. They're so upset about it. It's like the worst thing that's happened to them. So I don't blame U2 for this.
I grew up with elderly Irish people screaming at me, so I'm used to it. But for 13-year-old kids, they may be more bothered by it,
Yeah. Have you forgiven me yet for going to the Boston Garden show in '91 on St. Patrick's Day but taking my then girlfriend at the time?
I'm still a little bitter. But I've seen you two subsequent to that, so it's okay. I understand. I
think we even had a fight that you screamed at me, "You will not marry this girl,"
and which turned out to be true.
Yeah, you're dead right. You're 100% right.
I'm more bummed out that I didn't go see the Pogues in St. Patrick's Day in 1992 because of my then girlfriend, who I also didn't marry. So I have a lot of regrets about Irish bands and not going to see them. Because
I do feel like if we had seen you two at the Boston Garden on St. Patrick's Day,
we might be married
during college. Well, we might be married because now it's legal. But
right.
I don't know. I think it's 50-50 you survived that night.
Yeah, so it's a fair point.
At the very least, we're in the hospital and your stomach's getting pumped.
No, that's beyond. Yeah, that's without question, no doubt. So it was for the best, really.
I think you either would have been beaten to a pulp or you would have ended up in the hospital getting your stomach pumped because you would have just been so happy. Although, I guess you could have only had 2 beers at a time. I don't know how much damage you could have done until afterwards.
That's true.
But man,
I would have given it my damnedest, though.
That should have been like the greatest concert experience of my life, but my enduring memory is Bono just getting super political. And that's been the fly in the ointment of the U2 experience for 4 decades now.
Right,
He was just giving these soliloquies to 20,000 drunk people in the Boston Garden about whatever he was important to him, and people were just like, "Can you just sing?
Just sing
One Tree Hill or something?"
Exactly.
Anything?
Just sing. That's what we came
So you think it's over now, Johnny?
Well, I mean, I think in terms of new records or ever having the lasting impact of the Joshua Tree or any of their other records, even Achtung Baby, I think that's over with, and them being super relevant, I think is probably over with. But I think they've got a number of farewell tours still in them, and they will still sell out arenas for a long time to come, I would think, just because of the nostalgia tour, like the Rolling Stones still do.
I look forward to that.
Absolutely.
I look forward to this.
I'll be shelling my money out for tickets. Don't worry about that if they come nearby.
The most surprising thing about this to me, U2 was always ahead of the game. And sometimes it was in an unintentional comedy way, like with the Rattle and Home album.
Yeah.
But they were always ahead of the game with, let's do a documentary about our band as we do an album, or let's dip into techno because things are happening with techno. Let's go into disco and all that stuff.
Yeah, they were always trying to do different things. Yeah,
right. They were always ahead of the game. Always, like their concert tour, their concerts, and the way just the sets they had. They were just really innovative. And this was the first time they felt the opposite of innovative, where they were like, hey, The Edge, we're going to end up in people's iClouds. How's that play?
That was Paul McCartney as Bono. It's pretty good.
I'm so bad at that.
Bill Simmons as Paul McCartney as Bono.
What was the one? What was the one we loved with Rattle and Hum with Bono and B.B. King?
Well, I'm not sure that he actually ever said this line, but somehow we interpreted it when he wrote the song "When Love Comes to Town." And
for B.B. King.
He's with B.B. King, and he's like, "Do you like the lyrics, B.B.?"
And BB was like, "Yeah, I like the lyrics."
Yeah,
it was great. It was one of the best 1 minutes. Oh, it's that documentary. Shit, what's that channel? HBO Comedy.
Yeah.
If Rattle and Hum was on HBO Comedy, I wouldn't even blink. It's like, oh, they finally get it. It's now
they
comedy.
had a more recent documentary. I guess it was a couple years ago, which I saw, which was called. What was it called? From the Top Down or something?
I love that documentary.
Which was great, which was about Achtung Baby and and the making of it. And they basically made fun of themselves for Rattle and Hum, that it was so over the top and ridiculous. And that's one of the things that convinced them, like, we need to dial this back a couple notches. Like, we hate ourselves too. I can understand why everybody thinks we're so overblown, you know?
I love that documentary.
It's great.
And also, I had no idea that they basically broke up in like 89 and 90.
Yeah, they hated each other
Baby.
And went off in different directions and stuff.
Wasn't it like I don't know if you felt this way, but for me, it was like finding out that my parents had. Oh, I guess my parents did get divorced. That's a bad analogy.
I think you knew that already, yeah.
I don't know. Finding out that that a close friend who's been married for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like if we found out Chip Kane had just was not living with his wife for 2 years.
Yeah,
like,
that would
what?
be weird.
Like, that's how I felt with the U2 breakup. I had no idea.
Yeah, it was. They kept
that
really under wraps, and I mean, they never officially broke up, but they kind of were all sick of each other.
I think we need to go our own way, The Edge.
Excuse me.
But they ended up in
Germany.
It's a great document. I highly recommend this documentary. That name I can't remember, but they end up like in some house in Germany.
Well, a studio in Germany.
Studio in Germany. No, but initially they had a house. Remember? And they were all living in a house.
Staying in some hotel. They wanted to go to some studio where, like, David Bowie had recorded a bunch of things, and there was a bunch of famous records made there. And they, for some reason that they ended up in Germany. I think because maybe it was like the scene of a lot of like techno DJ stuff that they were trying to explore too. They thought they could just sort of inhale it through osmosis or whatever.
It worked. It was a good album.
It really was a good album. I mean, at the time, I don't know that it was. I guess we kind of wore out the CDs, but I guess over time it sort of gained more classical status than it had when it first came out, I think.
I'll tell you this much, and I say this with 100% admiration, affection, and respect. Bono is my favorite blowhard of all time.
Without question.
He's one of the top 10 blowhards of all time, and he's my favorite one. I love when he gets blowhardy. I fully support his blowhardiness, unless it's St. Patrick's Day in 1991 at the Boston Garden.
And I do too.
It.
And I say that as someone that disagrees with him with probably about 95% of what he's a blowhard on. But yeah, he at least believes it. He's like a true believer, and
totally.
He knows he's almost a self-parody at this point, and he's in on the
not
joke.
Almost.
He realizes it. Yeah, not almost. He is a self-parody, but he's in on the joke, and he realizes it. So it's America just laughs. The world really just laughs with him. But
has done a ton of good stuff for the world.
Yeah, no doubt.
So he's kind of entitled to the blowhardiness, but yeah, it's like SNL's 40 years or the 40th season has started, I think, this week or next week. It's amazing to me that they haven't fully pulled off like the perfect Bono, like the parody Bono talk show. Sandler did it in the mid 90s, but it's just sitting there for somebody. I don't know what they're thinking with that.
Yeah, well, his time has passed, and I mean, then in some ways that's sad too, because we used to sort of make fun of all these guys or sports columnists or writers, and everybody had to like reference back to the Beatles, and it had no relation to us.
We didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
And now, sadly, that's where we are with you too, I guess.
Well, let's see. How old is Bono? 1960.
So he's 54.
54. I mean. Like, they don't seem like they should be as old as the Rolling Stones were to us, like they're in college.
No, but it's pretty much right there.
Because they put out the Joshua Tree, he was only 24, and that was like their fifth album.
Yeah, it was probably like 86. He was like, what, 26?
I'll tell you one thing. For the under 35ers who are turned on YouTube because they ruined their iCloud, go on YouTube and watch the Under the Blood Red Sky concert, because it's still good. 30 plus years later. Like that, those guys were great in concert. They are one of the great concert bands ever. They're on the short list.
And we're the last generation to experience that, because I don't think, 20 years from now there's going to be this similar nostalgia for NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys or whoever
right.
like, or Miley Cyrus,
I actually thought that U2 had one other great moment after that Super Bowl. And I don't remember what SNL season it was, but I remember talking to Seth Meyers once about it on the podcast, because I think it was his first show or like his second season or something. When they were on SNL, they came on SNL one time in the 02-03 range. And they were just unbelievable. And Bono was like, he was one of the only people who like left they have that rigid stage you're not allowed to go away from. And he like left the stage and went in the audience and went full scale Bono on the whole thing. And it was amazing. I fully support the guy. And
absolutely.
And from a comedy standpoint, The Edge has always been underrated from just his hair situation for the last 30 years and how he just embraced the bandana in like 1990 and never looked back.
Yeah, one of those guys that found a look and just stuck with it.
You and I always loved that he was The Edge and not Edge.
Yeah. Well, that was your joke when he used to say, like, you go to dinner when he'd be like, "Could you pass the corn, The Edge?"
I forgot about that.
Are you enjoying your steak, The Edge?
The Edge, are you going to get some coffee? What's his real name?
David Evans.
And what was Bono's name? Paul Hewson?
Paul Hewson, yes.
Yeah, great. Good choices to switch names.
And the band is like, well, two of us will have nicknames, but you other two guys, you can keep your real names.
Yeah. You can't change your names.
It shows who's important in the band. Like the lead singer and the guitarist. We're going to have crazy nicknames that everyone will know us by, but you guys just go by your full names.
How much baseball have you watched in the last month?
An inning? I think I caught it by accident. I tried to. This is terrible of me to say as a Yankee fan, but I missed the Jeter farewell day too. I DVR'd it, but it ran longer than what I had set the DVR for. So all I saw was like the introductions of former players, which also made me feel old, since all the old retired players were all like in my heyday. So I didn't see him speak or anything, so I kind of missed a lot of that. It's
probably online though, right?
Yeah, I'm sure I could watch it on one of these computer
online
things I hear so much about, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to have a season where the Yanks and the Red Sox are just irrelevant. The Red Sox record right now, 66-84.
Yeah, surprisingly worse than the Bobby V 2012 debacle. I think they're worse, right? Pretty sure.
It's headed that way.
They're right on the edge of being worse than that if they already aren't. So
you must be delighted by the super awkward situation right now where Mookie Betts just goes 2 for 4 every single day
at second base.
And Pedroia has 6 years left on his $100 million contract and can't hit for power anymore. And it's just like the elephant in the room.
And just had his like 5th wrist surgery or something, didn't he?
Yeah. And after the first one, they're like, it's fine. I'll be 100%. It's never been the same.
I know. It'll be interesting. That's like a Jeter deal when they got A-Rod in his prime, and A-Rod was a better shortstop, but shortstop was Jeter's position. Do the Sox do the same with P.E.D. Roya?
Come on. I'm right here.
I know. I just have to say that always.
I'm right here.
I'm contractually obligated to say that.
Yeah, Pedroia with the 376 slugging this year.
Oof. Ouch.
That's a problem. Jody Reed was better than that. And then Mookie's been on fire. And every Red Sox fan is secretly terrified they're going to trade Mookie this summer because they're committed to Pedroia.
Right.
And, it's a little concern. Not as much of a concern
as for Pedroia because he's got no pop and he's, on the wrong side of 30. And even though he has a relatively favorable contract, he doesn't have the numbers that you would want.
Johnny, do you want any Jackie Bradley Jr. rookie cards? Because I have some.
I'm still trying to get rid of my stack of Brian Taylor rookie cards from 1991. So,
I hope you have some Dylan Betances rookie card because he's the greatest setup man in the history of baseball.
He's going to be the greatest closer, the second greatest closer starting next year. I think they're going to let Robertson walk and they're going to hand the ball to old Dylan.
I emailed the great Mallory Rubin, who's one of the rocks of Grantland behind the scenes and who runs our baseball coverage. And I was just like, can we have anybody write about Dylan Betances? Because I have him on both fantasy teams. And I've never seen anyone have a season like this. He's
New York's own local boy, made good at the Yanks. It's an exciting story.
86.2 innings, 130 Ks.
Yeah.
42 hits, 13 runs he's given up. It's his whip is 0.75. It's incredible.
It's phenomenal. It's like when they had young Mariano Rivera, and he was the setup guy for Wetland, and then they let Wetland walk, and they put him in the role, and that worked out obviously very, very well. So hopefully Dellin will follow in the footsteps to some degree.
I had him in League of Dorks for like the last 4 or 5 years, and we almost waived him a couple times because he was in the minors, and he was walking like a batter an inning or something.
Yeah, no control. Couldn't control his curveball.
Right. We were like, what do we do with this guy? We literally almost waived him 2-3 times, and to watch him emerge into the greatest relief pitcher ever, it's put it this way, it's going to be bittersweet when the PED scandal breaks with him. It's going to be bittersweet.
Yeah, it's probably why he's throwing 100 sometimes when he touches 100 on the gun.
Is Tanaka coming back or no?
Who?
Tanaka.
I don't know what they're doing with him, to be quite honest with you. I mean, they're really not in the playoff hunt anymore. So
yeah,
I think they were hoping maybe they could bring him back, but at this point, there's really no point in doing it. And my concern is they didn't go for surgery, which I get. You don't want him to have surgery if you can avoid it, but I just hope that they give him all this rest and he throws a bullpen every week or so, and they're cautiously optimistic, but. I just hope they don't put him on the shelf and then, comes out in April and he just shatters it and needs the surgery and then a whole other year is lost. But
I don't
think he's going to come back this year. I hope not at this point.
I'm trying to think. That happened with an athlete. Maybe it was a baseball player, but it was something where they waited on the surgery and then he ended up having it anyway. I'm blanking. Oh well. All right.
I know there was like Todd Stottlemyre who was okay, but he had the semi-torn rotator. He had the semi-tear or whatever, and then they told him you could pitch through it and see how it goes, rest and all that. He tried to avoid surgery, and I don't think it worked out that great. But
yeah, the rehab and the semi-tears is dicey.
Yeah, I don't love that.
All right, Johnny, I'm glad you're in good spirits with this U2 thing. I just wanted to check in.
Thanks, buddy. And let me say this to Apple. I'll accept any free U2 albums for here into eternity.
Yeah, maybe Apple could make it right by putting more free U2 albums in our iCloud.
Absolutely. The more the better. And any free Pogues records, I'll take those too.
All right. Hang in there, Bono. You're a favorite blowhard. Keep doing what you do.
Yeah,
we will talk to you. The BS Report's actually going away this week. We will be back next week on the BS Report. Thank you. Take care.
All right. See ya. Bye-bye.
So I get to sign off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Hey, what you got there, Golick?
The new Subway Chipotle chicken melt with guacamole.
Man, that looks good.
Yeah, this new guac is really bringing the flavor.
Got one for me too, right?
Well, yes and no. Mostly no. Well, really, all no.
Try the irresistible new Subway Chipotle chicken melt with guacamole, juicy grilled chicken strips with Monterey cheddar, Chipotle Southwest sauce, and new guacamole made from ripe Hass avocados with just a hint of jalapeno. Subway, eat fresh.